Today our group is going to be discussing the urinary system, starting first with a discussion and representation of the anatomy, of the simple structures, and then an in-depth look at the nephron.
The main organ associated with the urinary system is the kidneys, right and left. The superior aspect of each kidneys are the adrenal glands. The renal vein connects to the inferior cava. You have the renal artery and the renal vein. That's what feeds both of the kidneys with blood vessels. The outer portion of the kidney is the renal cortex. The inner tissue of the kidneys is the renal medulla. Now we have two of these yellow tubes. These are the ureters that connects to the urinary bladder right here. This is where the body stores the urine. And behind that we have the urethra.
Anatomically, those are the major components of the urinary system. We'll be going into function and detailed physiology in a later video. Now we're going to take a little more of an in-depth look at what goes on inside of the tissue of the kidney itself with the nephron and the collection ducts.
Right now I'm presenting the kidneys, which is one part of the kidneys, which is the nephron. What is the kidneys anyway? The kidneys, what are the functions of the kidneys? The kidneys play a vital role with blood. Their responsibilities include extract waste from blood, balance body fluid, form urine, and other functions of the body. Right now I'm going to explain how the blood travels to the nephron vessel. First of all, what is nephron? The nephron is a functional unit of the kidney, and waste products are filtered from the blood and urine is produced. Blood travels to the nephron via the afferent arterioles. When the blood reaches the glomerulus, what is the glomerulus? It's a cluster of capillaries in the renal cortex. The plasma is filtered by blood pressure, forcing the fluid across the capillary membranes. The fluid, which then present in the nephron, it is called filtrate. Now, from the glomerulus, the fluid goes to the glomerulus capsule. Another name for it is the Bowman capsule. Proximal convoluted up here, and then descending convoluted, then you go to ascending convoluted, the distal convoluted, and the connecting duct right there at the bottom.
Here we're going to revisit a concept we've already talked about, the anatomy of the kidney, in a little bit more detail and zoomed in so you could see the different sections of the kidney, particularly the cortex and the medulla. We'll be going into the physiology later, but just so that you can get a little bit more of an in-depth look.
Here's the coronal view of the kidney. The outer portion is the renal cortex. The inner tissue is the renal medulla. In between the cortex, you have the loop of Henle. Here you have the blood vessels, once again, that feeds the kidney. This is the renal artery and the renal vein. And here are the pyramids.
Turning over here, you can see how the loop of Henle's traverse the cortex into the medulla. These are sites of collection. Again, we'll be going into it in more detail in a later video. An in-depth look at the Bowman capsule. You can see that there's a lot of convoluted vessels going in. The idea here is that to get better filtration, you maintain hydrostatic pressure. You keep this area encapsulated, and that's what forces material out, as well as keeps material from coming back in, being filtered out due to concentration gradients. Looking at it in detail, we see that there are sites on the blood vessels where the filtration actually happens. These blood vessels have little tiny holes.